Hello and welcome to GA&P. On the coffee table today, I have a Gibson SG Standard in Heritage Cherry, and in this video, I'm going to add a few interesting aftermarket parts. The Duesenberg TM85C Les Trem 2 unit, the Tone Pro System 2 TP6R-C Roller Bridge, and the Dietrich parts String Butler version 2 metal in full black. Unless you live under a rock, you'll probably know most of what there is to know about the Gibson SG. However, in the interests of entertainment, I'll go through a brief history of the SG in my own words. Gibson released the mighty Les Paul in collaboration with the Les Paul in 1952. After roughly 9 years of the Gibson Les Paul, now suffering from waning sales, Gibson, under the direction of one Theodore McCarty, decided to make a few drastic modifications and released the new Les Paul in 1961. Look familiar? Only trouble was, Les Paul hated it and wanted his name removing from the guitar. The newly named SG was now born and has been in production ever since. The trouble with the SG is it kind of suffers from a number of bad design flaws. Number 1, neck dive, caused by a long neck and a light body. Number 2, neck whip, caused by a long and relatively thin neck. Number 3, those models with trems don't stay in tune very well, contributed to by number 4, the headstock design, which leads to binding in the nut. Number 5, and the real issue for me and my beer gut, they tip forward on a strap because of the strap button placement, which gives me a backache. Over the years, Gibson have tackled a few of these issues, but have never solved, well, any of them. This SG Standard model is from Gibson's modern collection and is based upon the later 60s version with the batwing pickguard. Part of the SG's design evolution was to increase the surface area of the neck and body joint, giving a more secure and stable connection. As you can see, the original design has a lot less wood gluing surface area, which sometimes resulted in serious issues. By 1967, the neck joint had been altered and the guitars had a new pickguard design to spice things up a little. The batwing guard is my preferred look, as Angus Young played one in Back in Black's original music video, which is my absolute favourite AC/DC tune. Of course, he is synonymous with playing the earlier ones too. The SG's body is 2 pieces of mahogany, stained in Heritage Cherry and finished with gloss nitrocellulose lacquer. I can see why Les Paul wasn't a fan, as it is a dramatic stripped back and simplified departure from Gibson Les Paul's flashy gold or curly maple tops, not to mention the crazy devil horn styling. Furthermore, the weight difference due to the SG's very thin body is often dramatic compared to most Les Pauls. This one weighs in at 6 pounds 5 ounces, and I think it's safe to assume that we've all seen those 10 or 11 pound monster Les Pauls listed for sale. The neck is bound, has 22 medium jumbo frets and a Graphtec nut. The rosewood fingerboard has a 12-inch radius and is adorned with acrylic trapezoid inlays, making the guitar look really classy in my opinion. This neck feels wide compared to a Les Paul, however, the nut width and end of the fingerboard width are listed as the same measurements. Both also have a 24 3/4 inch scale length and a 12-inch fingerboard radius. I think some of the wider feel comes from the neck being further out. Your hand can access the neck all the way up to the 22nd fret, where the neck is naturally wider on both the SG and Les Paul, which adversely meets the body at around the 16th fret. The hardware is chromed aluminium with a Nashville Tune-O-Matic bridge and stop bar, Grover Rotomatic tuners, and silver-capped top hat knobs. The pickguard is 5-ply full face, colloquially referred to as the batwing guard. The pickups are the 490R in the neck and 490T in the bridge, with a 3-way selector switch, and each pickup has its own dedicated volume and tone control. No coil tapping ability, so the SG Standard is just a pure humbucking rock machine. There's no hard case with this tier of SG, however, the gig bag included with this guitar is awesome. I was really impressed with the quality and the look. I'd say personally, and this is only my opinion, if you drop the guitar whilst in this bag, you might be more upset about the bag being scuffed up than the guitar. So here's the Gibson SG Standard played through the Quad Cortex. I've made a very basic rig on the QC running into the Zoom H6 recorder with an abbreviated Back in Black drum track that I've programmed using Easy Drummer software. The bass is a Cort A4. I've mixed the audio in Adobe Rush, so this is a raw recording. No apologies for that, folks. I don't have a PC capable of running Cubase, Logic or whatever at the moment. I'm a big fan of Gibson pickups and have no real desire to change these out. Hopefully you'll agree that they sound really good. The plan is to add the Duesenberg Trem, roller nut and string tree thingy to hopefully aid the tuning stability and make it a little bit more like a Bixby loaded model but without all the involved in having a Bixby on it. The added bonus with all these mods is they require almost zero permanent alterations to the guitar, so if I want to put things back to factory spec I can easily do so. The parts are a Duesenberg TM85C Les Trem 2 unit, Tone Pro's System 2 TP6R-C Roller Bridge, String Butler version 2 metal, full black. The installation of the Duesenberg Les Trem 2 was supposed to be really easy. It should drop right into position instead of the tailpiece. You can't use the Gibson posts because they're the wrong style, but obviously Duesenberg include the replacement spare posts with both metric and imperial threads should you be installing it into an import, USA or new build guitar. The one hiccup I found was the batwing guard sits a little too close to the Les Trem's main spring. So I had to do a little bit of filing to make room for it to sit flush with the body. Obviously the 61SG won't have this issue, and of course this Trem unit is designed for the Les Paul, and therefore Duesenberg's designers played no part in my calamity. To overcome this, I lightly scored around the offending area of Trem and filed the plastic away to the scored line. You honestly wouldn't notice it without looking closely for it, and new replacement pick guards are readily available for if or when I choose to take the unit off again. The Tone Pro's roller bridge was equally as easy to install. In fact, the saddle positions were set perfectly for a 24 3/4 scale length from the factory, meaning I haven't needed to adjust the intonation at all. However, if your one isn't dialed in, I recommend taking a reference measurement of the Gibson saddle positions so it'll be easier to adjust the intonation when you have the strings back on. Otherwise, I had to use new posts as the SG ones were too wide. Again though, Tone Pros have supplied a direct replacement for the original. And don't forget to take a measurement of your action height for reference when everything is back together. Something to note, you'll need to set the action height before you fix the locking grub screw because the action height adjustment wheels won't move once they're tightened down, and the Les Trem 2 obscures access to the grub screw once it's in place. The string butler fits under the tuner posts, and as I had the strings completely off, this was a cinch. The unit comes with a tiny set of washers that go under each post to keep it off the headstock, which should prevent any finish damage. The Gibson bushings tighten down nicely, securing the whole thing, and that's it, an easy installation. Once installed, the strings sit on the roller bearings and there's nothing else to worry about. And that's all there is to it. The guitar's all strung up. I haven't changed the pickups. However, I'm interested to know if you think there'll be a tonal change from the guitar. Let me know in the comments below. I've put together a cheesy track to try out the guitar, and you may notice that I took my inspiration from Limelight by Rush. I'm having fun with Easy Drummer, and doing this type of track is fun to make and will avoid the video getting copyright strikes. It takes me a lot longer to make videos because I have a full-time job and a family to look after. There's no remuneration other than views and likes, so I hope you get some enjoyment out of watching them. With that said, please hit like, subscribe and ring the notification bell for future videos, and leave me a comment below. I genuinely enjoy the interaction. I hear a new and brighter top end to the guitar. There's a zingy tonality to it now. I love its clarity through a 65 Fender amp capture, and that's what has changed for me. The neck pickup is muddy with gain but shines in a clean setting, and the bridge pickup through a dirty Marshall is heaven. Before the mods, the SG was pretty good. It stayed in tune most of the time, but would drift on the G, B and D strings. With the mods in place, there are a whole new set of moving parts, and all the bearings will move with the lightest change in string tension, from bends, etc. This SG is now a very different animal as the Les Trem 2 has lots of bounce due to the tension in its spring. I'm sad to report the guitar still goes out of tune. I think the SG design flaws are still a big contributing factor, as the SG is an inherently unstable design. I'm pleased to report, however, that you can use the Trem like a Bigsby for warbling and things stay in tune nicely. If you decide to dive bomb it though, chances are you will have issues. Overall, the Duesenberg Les Trem 2 is awesome. I'm amazed at how much travel there is in the bar, and it goes both ways. You can get a light gargle out of it, and as you heard at the end of the demo, you can do a pretty decent dive bomb, but when you come back again it won't be in tune. As you can see in the test clip, I can flutter it without issues and get away with a gargle or two, but if you abuse it, the strings go sharp. This may be due to the guitar settling into its new setup, and it may improve once the strings bed down properly. In this case, if you dive bomb, it goes sharp, but I have to say that I haven't fired the nut, although I have added some Big Ben's nut sauce. Cosmetically, with all the new parts assembled, I'd say the SG now looks fairly odd. I don't blame any one part for this, as they're all individually attractive designs. I just don't know if I'm enamoured with the newly formed instrument as a whole. I should add that the string butler would be far more visible if I hadn't gone for the all black model, as even the clear versions look out of place to me. This one blends into the black headstock and only obscures a small amount of the inlay. Ultimately, these mods have added an element of extra fun to my SG, and as that's all I want from this guitar, I'm very happy. I will say that in every individual manufacturer's case, the product works very well. They've all used high quality components and seemed well designed. 3 different companies have created products that reduce friction, and I can't fault anything except the way they look together, which is all completely subjective. I've concluded that because each part by design has very low friction, the tuning issues that remain are probably attributable to the nut, the headstock angle, the lack of locking tuners, as well as the well-known neck whip issues all SGs suffer from. As a result of the modifications, I love the clean tone, especially the neck pickup. I hear a new top end zing that I didn't before. So for me, the project has been a success. 10 out of 10 for the parts, 8 out of 10 for the SG. It's not Gibson making mistakes building this SG, it's the SG having design flaws from day one that makes all SGs what they are. Angus Young, Frank Zappa, Tony Iommi and Derek Trucks, to name a few, don't have any issues making incredible music with them though, so maybe I should stop whinging. An extra added bonus is the increased weight from the new hardware, which might help to counterbalance the neck dive by adding a little extra mass on the body. The original bridge and tailpiece are very light, and installing the Les Trem 2 and Roller Bridge could make a difference. The Gibson bridge is 29 grams, plus the tailpiece at 63, a combined 92 grams. The Tone Pros bridge weighs 58 grams, plus the Les Trem 2, which weighs 228, that's a combined 286 grams. Overall, that's an extra 194 grams or 6.84 ounces. Of course, there are other ways of dealing with neck dive. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed my strap, which is made from a very grippy suede leather and has stopped the SG from moving. So whether the parts aid in the inherent neck dive doesn't really matter, because a strap like this will eliminate the issue anyway. I will end on this note. I find these frets to be very low and I struggle to play the SG up high because of it. I'm very tempted to get it refretted. As you can see from the demo, I don't find it hard to play in the middle register. It seems the higher up I go, the harder this SG becomes to play. I think that Gibson overplecked the frets on this SG and took a lot of material off, because my new Les Paul frets are taller and are much nicer to play up top despite the restricted upper access. I usually really like medium jumbo frets, so that's not the issue. Time will tell if I return it to stock and sell it, or if I keep it and go for a refret. Let me know what you think of the demos with added drums and bass. I'm going to continue to make them for future videos in the style of my favourite songs. I enjoy the process more than just noodling over a backing track. Thanks Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more, check out my channel. I've made a few other guitar reviews you might enjoy. Please hit like, subscribe, ring the notification bell for future videos, and leave me a comment below, even if you want to bitch about something.